Hello, this is Cate Stillman with YogaHealer.com and the Yogi Detox, and I'm here with Beth Claxton, Dr. Beth Claxton, and we're talking about you had emailed me a question about detoxing and weight loss when you don't want to lose any more weight. So let's dive in there. Just tell me a little bit more.
So when I first did the first detox last April, I lost probably 15 pounds. And then I did the next detox in October, and my mother said, "Don't lose any more weight." And so now I find just in my day-to-day routine where I'm trying to avoid eating after 6, eating late dinners, carrying on with my normal routine. I'm up sometimes all night and trying not to eat and just drinking water. I can drop a lot of weight really fast.
Yeah, yeah, and just to explain to everybody, so you have to work nights as part of your shift,
Yeah, 24-hour shifts.
24-hour shifts. Okay, and so when I look at something like this and it's like, what's the opportunity? Because for me, detox, I use this term so ludicrously loosely at this
Hmm.
point. To me, and more of like going into an inner retreat or into the next phase of health evolution, of just creating a sacred space, sacred time, or seasonally at the seasonal junctures to allow an up level of sorts, an up level really of integration of mind, body, spirit integration. So, what it sounds like to me too is that because of the night shift work, is that your body is in a bit of is in a stress response, and that's what's causing the weight
Yeah,
loss. Is it's like,
yeah.
and some of us, in stress we gain, others of us with stress we lose. Like I under stress, my body will just I don't have to eat much, it'll gain.
Mm.
It just packs on. And that's more of a kapha response. Other people with more of a pitta or vata response, they'll either burn or they'll dissipate energy. Pittas burn energy, vatas dissipate energy, and so there's that loss. And so when I look at it, it's like, so what's the opportunity? And that is really my question for you. Of like, what are you craving in terms of your own health evolution that really has nothing to do with well, I just want to say that's like the focus isn't on like cleansing, but it's more maybe on grounding, rejuvenating, simplifying, nourishing. Like, what does that look like?
Mm, more sleep, but I don't know how to get more sleep with my family. Got a family and have to do things with them. Um, I really try to unplug when I'm not working. Yeah, I'll have to think about that one for a while, chew on it. And one thing that I've started doing is occasionally I'm on for a 48-hour shift, where the second 24 hours I back up the midwife, but it's still pretty agitating to my system to have to be available. And I just take Wednesday off of work. So that's what I've done today, and I did last week, and that feels really nurturing. Just making space.
Great, great.
Yeah.
And so then the question might be too is like, what routines is there any routines you could bring into work, like 1 minute meditations on on the hour when you're not delivering a baby, or like different ways to put into your day? Because when I look at like the process of detox, it's just almost a concentrated time where we try new habits on, where we just are like, okay, because it can be so hard to um, gradually change a lot of things simultaneously. It's like, what if we just say, just for 7 days, I'm going to try this X, Y, and Z habit. I'm going to maybe get an extra hour of sleep and not do family time, and just
Hmm.
see if I can reset my own physiology at the next level of integration. And that means I'm going to do X, Y, but it's just for a week. And then
Hmm.
at work, I'm going to take these 1 minute meditation breaks where I just look away from the screen or take a moment in the bathroom, and I just expand into space and into deep time, and I just let go of any sort of subtle energetic stress or busyness, or I mean, I imagine in your work that there's a real like forward momentum.
Yeah, actually, the other day I had to go in at 3:30. I decided, I'm not going to go in and sleep. I'll just take my meditation pillow. I realized when I was in the hospital, I wasn't breathing.
Which apparently at this time doesn't either.
So that was a huge revelation. The other thing I realized that was coming to me is I eat in somewhat of a sympathetic response, and I need to unplug more before eating.
Great. So that's, I mean, just in terms of this is sort of my take on like how does someone who's under stress and in a stress response that's causing weight loss, how do we use a process of yogi detox or an at-home retreat to just say like, okay, there's 2 or 3 behaviors that I have a sense that there's an invitation from consciousness, this like evolutionary invitation to try something a little different for a really short period of time. So that it's not like I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life, but it's just trying different things on. It's experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the other side of that week, what I find is that there's a momentum shift. That which has gained traction has more traction to it. And so say for you, it was just these simple things of like, okay, when I go to work, I get to work 5 minutes early and I sit on my cushion and I practice deep breathing for the first 3 minutes. And you just have your little iPhone timer, like 3 minutes go. In the next 2 minutes, I just expand into space. I just relax and feel the support of universal energy. After that, bam, 2 minutes, that's up. Okay, now I'm ready to do what I normally do when I go to work. So that would be one practice. The other practice would be that, 1 minute of pausing and receiving the nourishment from the prana of the food before actually taking it into your body, so that you are in that more parasympathetic, like easeful relationship to life, easeful relationship to deep nourishment, which is such a huge part of the key with weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then that like, okay, for a week, sorry kids, I'm not getting the kind of sleep I need, and I'm not teaching you how to take care of yourselves by me not getting enough sleep, because that creates so many more problems. So I'm going to do this. It's not forever. We're just going to see. And just by giving yourself that little bit of experimentation time,
Mm-hmm.
there's like new insights will come in. Like, I never pretend to have all the answers with any of this stuff. It's like, let's just see what the universe comes up with.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I had a sense that it wasn't about food anymore. It's about something else, and letting my body absorb it. Because for some reason, I'm getting this message that it's not really absorbing it.
Yeah. And so then one other little tip that I do find so helpful with a lot of, when there are deeper absorption issues, and I mean, you have an exceptional life. Most people don't have, most working moms are not working 24-hour shifts. And so there's we want to make room for anything that's arising. And when we look more particularly at a situation like this, it's like, okay, what's the easiest way for nutrients to get absorbed? Whenever I look at that, I'm like, what happens in nature? Well, in nature, like the easiest stuff to get absorbed is pre-digested. So fermented foods, like having some fermented foods at the beginning of every single meal, whether that's like a little bit of sauerkraut or a little bit of kimchi or some miso soup that has living bacteria in it, or a takra, like a mix of like a fresh yogurt drink with yogurt and water and some spices, maybe some salt, maybe some natural sweetener or sugar so it gets into the bloodstream faster. And just saying like, okay, I know that like simple one-pot meals, things that are warm, things that are mushy, things that are like pre-combined, so my body doesn't have to really do very much work to turn that into energy and to turn that into bodily tissue. That would then become like, okay, how can I do any of that part that I just mentioned better for 1 week? And then after that 1 week, there's a momentum of like, okay, of that, I can't do all that, but I could maybe just have, in the fridge at work, I have my little jar of sauerkraut, or whatever. And there's a new habit with a new momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And so even with the food part, it's like, okay, even though it's not about food, right? And it's really more about like, oh, I just need to make things really easy on my body because my body is under stress given my career path and my lifestyle, given this dharma that I'm in right now. So then if the message is nourishment, how can I allow nourishment through food, even on the next level of like, oh, how can I just make this easier on my physiology?
Mm-hmm.
How does that sit?
That sits like I'm feeling really warm. My body's, happy, tingling.
Yay. Well,
Yay.
Thanks so much, Beth, for taking the time and having the conversation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for your help.